made contact and shattered.
At some point, Chris locates what's called a dry bag.
Law enforcement had considered Laundrie the only person of interest in the murder of his fiancée, Gabby Petito.
Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Turn it over to another agency. Let's get some help.
Hello? It's gone.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here for another ATS live stream. We've got a lot to discuss today. Let me share my screen so that we can just get started. Good morning to everybody in chat and the moderators. Hello. I haven't had a chance to look at chat yet, so give me 1 second. I've got stuff I want to share from News Nation. This is his new mugshot I wanted to share with you guys. Bryan arrived in Idaho around 9:45, 10 p.m. Eastern time last night, in shackles, legs, shackles, all that. So he is touched down in. Let me just read a little bit of update while we open up. Says a Federal Bureau of Investigation surveillance team tracked Idaho quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohberger and his father on a cross-country road trip from Washington state to Pennsylvania and asked Indiana police to pull him over, a law enforcement told Fox News. The law enforcement source told Fox News that the FBI surveillance team was seeking the video images of Kohberger as well as his hands. Bryan Kohberger and his father were pulled over, and he's being charged in connection to the fatal November 13th stabbings of the University Idaho students. So during a traffic stop by the Hancock County Police Department, the Kohbergers discussed an incident near Washington State University where a SWAT team killed an armed man amid a standoff. So I know you guys have seen the body cam footage, and I've done my best to enhance it the best I could. And what I mean by that is sharpen the quality, turn the volume up, and as best as I could, I tried to take the traffic sound out so that we could hear them better, but it's not the best. And when we get there, I will advise everybody who's listening to turn down your volume because I've turned it up to the max just because it was just very, very hard to hear him. Good morning, Corey and Jesse, Lynn, Ashley Oaks, Texaholic, Princess Megan, Elsa. Jesse Lynn, it appears he is smiling, and I'm not sure why. Like, is he just exhausted and delirious? Is he trying to be creepier? I don't really know. Yeah, I was wondering that too, SRB. Did they tell him to smile for that pic? Is he just so used to just going with the motions and pretending to be a normal person that it was like sort of instinct to smile for a pic, and then he realizes, like, wait, no, this is a mugshot. Like, I don't know, my head is everywhere. But there's some stuff I want to discuss in relation to his professor who he studied under, who is the BTK expert. Let me see what else I have. There's more info on Bryan's background, including his interest in joining the military, specifically the Army Rangers, which is a very elite team, which does like very secret op missions, very violent missions. So that was interesting to find out he was interested in that. We'll talk about that. Let's see what else do I have on here. We're going to listen to, I want to pull up News Nation stuff about his vegan diet and stuff like that. I haven't watched it, so I figured I would watch it with you guys first. So let's just get into stuff. Let me start sharing my screen, and then I've got notes to reference and all that. So thank you guys for being here. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. And I just want to show you guys my new mug. And it's like warped. You can't really tell, but it's all warped. It's supposed to look like trippy, like from Wonderland. So yeah, I got this from my sister-in-law for Christmas. All right. I want to pull News Nation up, like I said. And then I have other things I want to share. Where do I want to start? Let's start with News Nation. Why? Okay. Okay, so this one is prison accommodates Idaho murderers Bryan Kohberger's vegan meals. And I haven't watched this, but I do know from someone who spent some time in county jail here. He said it's not going to be a problem for Bryan to get his vegan diet because most county jails and most jails themselves, they just don't have the money for meat. So I think it'll be interesting if we ever get to see like a real picture of what he's eating, because I do want to know like what exactly Idaho has for his diet. Now I know this is going to discuss it, but I don't think it's going to show us like his exact meal.
By live outside of the local jail there, where just within the last hour and a half, a very famous inmate showed up. Bryan, take me to the process now, whether he's been booked and everything that's happened with Bryan Kohberger since that motorcade showed up behind you.
Yeah, it was so crazy, Ashley. You saw everything that happened about an hour ago, and now it's very, very quiet. He is now inside the jail. The booking process behind the scenes is happening. I told you earlier, this is a small jail. I mean, it's a little jail underneath the courthouse. So this is certainly a situation that they're not used to in terms of someone this high profile. But they're rolling with it. I mean, we were told that he's going to be in solitary confinement. When he was in Pennsylvania, he's vegan, so they were accommodating his vegan meal requests. And we're told that the sheriff is going to try to do the same thing here. So that'll certainly be interesting. But you see that video there? That's the motorcade that arrived, came right through the streets of Moscow. Before that, the plane landed at Pullman Moscow Airport, which is about 15 minutes from here, touchdown. They drove him here, and then the whole process is over tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at just a sea of people, but I'm guessing many of them or most or all of them are media. However, you telling me that they drove through Moscow makes me think that a lot of people in that town have a vested interest in seeing this process through and might actually have come out to the jail to be a part of this, to witness, the arrival of this much sought after suspect. Were there people who came from the university or from the town?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. It was a lot of media, but there were a lot of people from town just standing around. And I saw that at the airport, too. People drove in, parked in the parking lot. They wanted to catch a glimpse of him. They're angry. I mean, this is taken over their town. This isn't what they want to be known for. We've been here for a month. This is a beautiful, small, quaint town that hasn't had a murder in years. And they're angry at this man. And now he's back. And many people just wanted to catch a glimpse of him.
Did anyone yell? Oftentimes press will yell questions like, did you do it? And why did you do it? Even though he's the suspect only and he's got the presumption of innocence. But did any people make a reference or yell at him? Or was there a reaction from them that you could see from locals who showed up?
I didn't see anyone yelling at him. At the airport, there was a couple of locals standing by me, but we were so far away. Luckily, our cameraman was able to zoom in, but where they parked the plane, you couldn't get down to it. So even if you yelled there, I mean, it was windy. There's no way that he would hear. And it was pretty quiet here, too. I think people were just kind of quiet and watching and, just trying to sort of see what his mannerisms were like. When I saw him in Pennsylvania, we were closer. We were able to yell questions at him that he clearly heard. He sort of turned. I told you last night, he turned and glanced over at us, but has never really made any comments at anyone that's yelled.
I just wanted to pause it real quick. And I'm going to just say that I have video of him leaving the plane. So once we play this, I'll show you him leaving the plane, and then we'll go back to another News Nation article. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Good morning, Ruckus Rocks Podcast. Adrian, Nikki, Rex, Shay Benet, thank you for becoming a moderator and for everything that you've done to help us. Thank you so much. And good morning, Karen. It's good to see you, and everyone else. Thank you for being here, guys.
And then just quick question about all the people who showed up with him. I mean, that was a heck of a motorcade for one person, granted, a very high profile and potentially dangerous inmate if he's, guilty of the things he's accused of. But what about all those people? Did you get a glimpse? Was it U.S. Marshals? Was it FBI? Did they get him to the front door of the jail and then head back to the jet or back to the single prop plane?
Well, I was thinking about that. You've got these people who came from Pennsylvania. We know there was at least one FBI agent on the plane. It was a small plane, and the day they've had, I mean, it started at 6 a.m., Ashley, in Pennsylvania, and they were on that plane that took like 10 hours to get across the country with all those stops. So I'm assuming they're going to spend the night here and just rest up a little bit before.
My question is, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, was he afraid to fly? I don't know. There was rumor going around that Bryan Kohberger is fearful of flying. I don't know if it's true or not. Good morning, Florida Bass Fishing. It's good to see you. And Evil CJ, EE Caroline. Hello. Thanks for being here, everyone. And everyone else joining. I see you. Thanks for being here, guys.
Where they head back to Pennsylvania. But it was a big crowd with him. Like I said, some FBI. We're hearing, that the marshals initially offered to help with the transport, but that didn't happen. I'm interested in the backstory in all of this because, again, I just think it's interesting that it was the Pennsylvania State Police single-engine plane that took him all the way from Pennsylvania across the country. I think there's going to be more to that that comes out at some point.
So one quick question. I've only got about 40 seconds left, but where you are, it's a basement of cells. I think they can only hold about 42 inmates. And then he literally just has to come upstairs for a court appearance. So that could happen first thing, as gavel comes down, 9 a.m. Oh, is that, wait, you know what?
Yeah.
We've got his first booking photo on the screen, Brian. This is his first booking photo after landing in Moscow, Idaho at the Moscow, Idaho jail. He is now out of that burgundy jumpsuit from Pennsylvania and into the orange, prison t-shirt, jail t-shirt from Moscow. 10 seconds left. Just give me a quick answer to that logistics answer, if you could.
Yeah, I'm just seeing this picture for the first time too. I'm looking at it. Just goes upstairs. Again, I mean, if you're from a big city, this is going to sound very strange to you, but the jail's underneath the little courthouse and he gets walked up and it's just that easy here.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Thank you so much, Liam's mama, for the super sticker. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you being in our chats, and I like seeing you over in Evil CJ's chat and all that. So thank you so much, and everyone who participates here and on CDT's channel and Alex Erickson's and everyone else that is in the community that, my moderators have channels and all that. I really appreciate you guys supporting everyone. So thank you so much, guys. Now let's just pull this up.
See there, Bryan Kohberger in that orange jumpsuit walking with law enforcement. Let's listen.
And this is just another view. Now I'm pausing it real quick. Now, I know that other cameras on different stations had different views, different all that. So these are the two ones that I got. I think one was Fox. I can't remember the other source, but Shay Benet sent it to me. So thank you so much. And good morning, Punksy. Thank you for sending me those mugshots. And I'd like to rent you as well. I really appreciate you guys helping me out. I know that this was on West Coast time last night, so I sort of fell asleep, but I woke up to people helping me out, so I really appreciate you guys sending me these mug shots and all that. Okay, Punksy has a wrench, so thank you so much. I'm just reading chat. Thank you guys for being here. Alrighty, so I'm pausing it because somebody said that they thought they saw the chief of police of Moscow, Fry, but I don't know if I see him. Like, see this guy here, like over, is this Fry? You guys let me know if you see Chief Fry or if you have seen him in some of these footages. I would imagine he would be there, but it was just very, very hard. Okay, Krem 2 local station was the first one. Thank you so much, Shay Benet. Yes, I think I do see him. He's like in the back. He's got his back to us right now. Like this white head here. His gray hair or bald head. Is that him? Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger. Okay, so this was a new article that came up from Fox. I thought it was very interesting, and this is why I think this is interesting. Although he never went through with joining the Army Rangers, this was what he aspired to be in high school. This was probably what helped him lose some of the weight in high school. He might have felt like if he joined the Army Rangers, he had somewhere to fit in. The other thing that sort of woke me up out of a dead sleep was I was like, oh my God. Because remember, guys, I recorded this like late last night, like around 8:39. I was in Evil CJ's chat listening to updates, but I was editing and reading this. And I just thought, oh my God, remember when this case broke? And they said, yes, this is him. This is him in, I think, 2011, 12, or 13. This is a yearbook photo. And the article that I'll read describes a little bit more. But remember when this broke, they said a lot of experts were predicting that the killer had some sort of military experience, prior military, maybe his family was in the military, like all this stuff was being tossed around, remember? And yeah, that's true. The drugs probably helped his weight loss too, which is terrible to think about. And they were wondering if the knife was possibly military issued as well, remember? So it just really struck me when I saw this picture and I was like, no way. And then I found out that this was just from a law enforcement class, like in his high school. But I still find it interesting because it does seem like maybe that's the route he wanted to take. And remember, this was, there's 3 years in high school, sophomore to senior. It sounds like he started this stuff like in sophomore. And then by the time he was a senior, I don't know exactly what happened as far as was the weight loss due to his drug use? Was it due to working out? Not sure what happened, but he never ended up joining the Army Rangers, it seems. And even though they don't have the murder weapon, I am curious if it is what they were describing it as that one that a lot of military people use or whatever. Either way, I find it very interesting. And the other thing that I found very unsettling, which is, I'm sorry, I never explained what woke me up in the middle of a dead sleep. I was recording this, went to sleep, woke up, and I was like, oh my God. Remember when they were talking about Rambo style knife and Rambo was being said over and over? I just was like, woke up, Googled it real quick. That whole movie, Rambo, is about Army Ranger. And I don't know if there's any connection, but I just found it very, very strange that, for the longest time, everyone thought this knife was a Rambo style knife. And then, yeah, Detective Juan, thank you so much, came out saying that it's K-bar. Either way, a military style knife. And then the fact that Rambo, the movie, is a special forces, like Army Ranger movie. I was just like, oh, this is very weird, guys. And good morning, Alex Erickson and CDT. Thank you for being here, guys. Alrighty, so moving on. Yeah, House of Huddle, thank you for being here. It's good to see you. She said, oh, goodness, homework, LOL, watch Rambo. The other thing I want you guys to do, which we will, you know what? I'm just going to discuss it now because we're on topic. Now, you guys were the ones that brought this to my attention, the movie American Psycho with Christian Bale. You guys are the ones that said, this reminds me of that movie. This reminds me of that movie. Well, I was embarrassed to say I'd never seen it. Decided to watch it the other night. And wow. It starts off with him, just doing his daily routine, skincare. He talks about how well he takes care of his skin. He talks about how well he eats for his diet because taking care of yourself is very important. And so he emphasizes diet in that movie. Hold on. I wrote down a few notes about that movie. So he emphasizes a strict diet. It displays a lot of OCD habits that character has, which we've already heard that Bryan possibly might have those characteristics. In that movie, he works out a lot. He takes very good care of his body. We know that Bryan decided to go night jogging with somebody that did an interview, and we've shared his interview. And the thing that really unsettled me about that movie and how everyone was saying it reminded them of Bryan is he's very picky about his female victims in that movie, and he specifically wants blondes. He doesn't just want dirty blondes, he wants blonde. And all I could think about was Kaylee and Maddie. In that movie, he mentions Ed Geer, which you guys know, that serial killer who that movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface is inspired by. He's a serial killer who like skinned people and made furniture out of their skin and stuff. So in American Psycho, there's a part where the main character is talking about women. And remember, even Jennifer Coffindoffer said that she believes that this crime was specific towards women, as far as like his dislike for them overall, maybe had been manifested in this crime. So I just, got the chills when in the movie, the character is referencing the serial killer, Ed Gein. And he says, do you know what Ed Gein said about women? And everyone in the group is listening in on Christian Bale character. And he said, when I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out and talk to her and be real sweet and treat her right. The other part of me thinks what her head would look like on a stick. And then it just shows everyone in the movie kind of like stunned that Christian Bale's character said that. So the character in the movie is obsessed with serial killers because he's a killer. And then Bryan here is obsessed, it seems, with serial killers based on his studies with the professor who studied BTK. A lot of people have also compared Bryan to Ted Bundy with the killings at the sorority house. So let me just pull that up real quick. Well, actually, you know what? Let me finish this first, this article, and then I'll pull up that. But keep all that stuff in mind, okay? Because Ted Bundy is mentioned in American Psycho also. I'm not saying that Bryan liked these movies or knew anything about them, but it's very interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does come out like, with whatever was in his room or whatever that we end up finding out about him, if American Psycho was, something that inspired him. So I'll get into the Ted Bundy comparison at the sorority house after this, but I just wanted to throw that stuff out there because it was just very alarming as I was watching it. The movie is called American Psycho.
Kohberger aspired to be an Army Ranger and is featured in his high school yearbook exercising in uniform. In the 2011 Pleasant Valley High School yearbook, the accused killer is pictured in a law enforcement class with other students mid-push-up. An insignia on his right sleeve shows a U.S. flag as a badge dangles from his left pocket. Sophomore Bryan Kohberger performs his daily push-ups as part of his law enforcement class, the photo caption says. Kohberger used the skills he learned to help him reach his goal to one day serve in the Army Rangers. Bryan's name is misspelled in the yearbook photo caption. Army Rangers specialize in conducting raids and assault missions deep inside enemy territory. Bryan's yearbook photos show a once heavier and then slimmed down version of himself from the year 2000 into the year he graduated in 2013.
Thank you so much, Tom N. And I appreciate the super sticker in chat. American Psycho, exactly, in the cat scene. As soon as his story broke, all I could think of was American Psycho, copycat to a T. And that, honestly, I didn't think much about it. Let me just play this while I read your guys' chats. It's just a few different faces of Bryan. So it's just his images over and over. So I'm going to play this while I switch up the screen, okay? Thank you, Amy Eck, for being here and listening. She said, "Hey everyone, hit the like. I'm listening while driving, while taking a diving test." Oh wow, yeah, I did not expect to read diving test, so I stumbled there. That's awesome. Good luck. Yeah, he is a wannabe. I think so too. Hi, Sarah Adams. It's good to see you and everyone else who has joined. Doesn't he just have like a different look in so many of these pictures? All right, let me wait a second and then I'll pull up another screen. And Amy, chat is wishing you good luck as well. Good morning, Without Borders and Twisted Gemini and everyone else who's been here. So yeah, each pick, he looks so different. I agree, Kim. Hi, Delaney. Good to see you. And April B12. All right, let me pause it here. So this is one of the books that his professor wrote, How to Catch a Killer. And I mean, this is just, it says, hunting and capturing the world's most notorious serial killers. Now, we don't know if Bryan read these books, but we do know that he studied under the professor who wrote these books and who, has studied BTK. People have said, yeah, she's friends with BTK. I don't know if she's friends. I think it's a business relationship. I think that she's a person that he's felt comfortable opening up to. So she's has a direct communication with BTK. Kelly said his hands always look so big. He's creepy. His eyes are so creepy. I agree. Okay, so now I want to share the screen that will discuss a little bit more about his professor. And now she has been told not to mention anything because it will be used for court. Hold on. I want to make sure this is the right one. No, I don't think so. Oh, yeah, it's this one.
Bank anytime.
Sorry, guys. Anyways, thank you for being here while we wait for this ad to go through.
An intriguing connection here. We're learning more about criminology student Kohberger, including the fact that he studied under famed criminologist Dr. Catherine Ramsland. Ramsland has studied notorious serial killer Dennis Rader, also known as BTK.
Thank you, Adrian.
Bind, torture, and kill. He has been convicted of killing several people between the years of 1974 and 1991. He was arrested more than 15 years ago. He's behind bars. Rader's daughter is Carrie Rawson. She says she's concerned her father may have been in contact with Kohberger. Carrie Rawson's my guest now, and good morning to you. A lot of confusion connections here.
Hey, Brittany.
Try and take it slow here, Carrie, okay? This teacher had a contact with your father as she was teaching in Lehigh, Pennsylvania, DeSales University.
Sorry, I just want to reiterate that this is BTK's daughter.
Now, Kohberger was studying for his PhD in the state of Washington. Why do you believe he had a connection to your infamous father, now in jail?
It's really common in general for people in the public or criminology students, especially to correspond with my father via letters and sometimes talk to him on the phone. And since Dr. Ramsland had a long-term, several years, academic, intimate relationship with my father and a personal friendship, I wouldn't be surprised if Kohberger at least tried to contact.
I stand corrected. The daughter says that they have a personal friendship. Interesting. And she looks a lot like her dad.
I'm contacted pretty regularly by students asking me, can you get a hold of your father and have him return my letters?
Okay, but you don't have any proof that Kohberger reached out to your father. What you're trying to draw here is a connection through this professor. And has the professor said anything yet about this, Dr. Ramsland?
On Saturday, she made a public statement that she was not making public statements at this time, I believe due to her connection with DeSales University and her possible legal connection here with Kohberger as being his professor in the master's program.
Is that the only, sorry, Carrie, is that the only connection that you're tying here? Or is there some measure of evidence that you have learned through the media over the past 7-8 weeks after these murders?
My first time I heard of any connection to Dr. Ramsland was after Kohberger's arrest. And then there's speculation about Kohberger's ties to my father, but we're going to have to wait, to see if anything comes out in trial or after the trial.
Okay. One question here.
Yeah, Tom, and apparently there is no connection known. And thank you again for the super chat. And thank you, Teresa Rodriguez. So yeah, we don't know if he tried to get a hold of her, but it is interesting that he studied in the class that BTK professor and expert taught. I'm not sure now. CDT, if you're listening, help me remember. Did BTK say something when he was arrested? Were any others arrested? Sort of similar to what Bryan said. I can't remember if that was true or not.
Kohberger family, you know, the father drove in mid-December all the way across the country from the state of Washington to Pennsylvania. Here's a family statement. We fully cooperated with law enforcement agencies in an attempt to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence rather.
Is that true, Sarah Adams? She said BTK had a master's in criminology. Oh, if that's true. Okay, that was Gacy, Wayne Gacy, John Wayne Gacy. Thank you. See, that's the thing, is like all these little things that he's doing that are connected to these serial killers. Like I'll show you the sorority house that Ted Bundy did. And, you know, I don't know. I just keep seeing these connections. Somehow he seems to be connected to BTK because of the professor. Ted Bundy possibly because of imitating the crime, like you guys said in chat earlier, copycat of possibly the American Psycho movie, copycat of possibly the Rambo movie. Again, this is just all opinion and just like possible. I'm not saying that this is the truth, but it's just very interesting. And if BTK really did study the same as him, then that's just beyond ironic and just coincidence. BTK was 28 and killed 4 people his first time. Wow. Maybe he's a new hybrid type of copycat killer. And you know what was odd too was all that hype of the Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix. Remember, that was in October. So Jeffrey Dahmer hype took, and everyone was all bent out of shape. And it was just, you know, everyone watched it though, because it was just so interesting and trendy. So that took place. And then this new Halloween movie, people were saying, oh, this reminds me of the new Halloween movie that came out. I never saw it, but I'm just saying that these are the things that were sort of happening October, all the way leading up to the crime. Those were kind of happening in like the entertainment realm of society, I guess. A lot of people were all over that, whatchamacallit. Is chat flying? My bad, guys. He's a copycat murderer, in my opinion, plans, organizes, executes a dissociated psychopath. I totally agree. He's totally dissociated. All right, let's keep going.
Rather than judge unknown facts and make erroneous assumptions. Can you reflect on what the family's going through after your own experience? And you lived this, and you have not had contact with your dad in about 1.5 years.
I mean, as far as we know, his family is innocent. And so from my perspective of what my own family went through, it's basically utter hell. It's shock. I mean, they had a no-knock warrant come into their house in the middle of the night. They're probably still in shock, confused, grieving. It was reported that the mother and sister were upset at the hearing yesterday. It's a lot to process. You're trying to figure out how to pay for legal defense. You can't afford it. You're trying to answer questions to the FBI. You're trying to manage media, and you're trying to ask yourself what went wrong or what did I miss? And as parents, you're dealing with a massive amount of guilt, probably. It's a lot, and it's going to be a long time for them to find recovery.
Carrie, thank you for sharing your story. Carrie Ralston, it certainly is unique, and I know you have not had contact with your father since March of 2021. You got a court order to make sure that he cannot contact you again. We'll stay in touch and see whether or not your theory plays out.
Very interesting. And sad for her, you know, very shocking, I'm sure, to find out your father was BTK. He stayed under the radar for a while. So it's very interesting that Bryan studied under the professor who is friends with BTK. You know, it's like, was he just doing it because he was curious, or was he doing it for other reasons? Like, how far back does this premeditation go? And thank you, everyone, for being here. Mike, I think, joined, and allegedly with Brittany J. Thank you for being here. Allison Parker, thanks for being here. And everyone else, I see your guys' names popping up. And I want to say hi to everyone, but it's hard. Hold on. Actually, let's pull up this. All right. And this is cool too, because it says that you can listen to the article. Of course, it'll probably play an ad first.
Membership fees apply after free trial. Cancel anytime.
Can I be real for a second?
Okay, yeah. So this ad is almost done, but this is the article I wanted to share with you guys, just comparing him to other killers, okay? Just because, you know, him studying under that BTK expert, I just think that and all this other stuff going on, it does seem like maybe he was inspired by other serial killers or just pop culture related to murders.
Feeling great.
Florida's Chi Omega sorority house attacked by Ted Bundy is still occupied today. Photos. The Chi Omega sorority house that Ted Bundy terrorized in 1978 still stands today, like many other true crime destinations in the South. This article contains content that may be upsetting to some of our readers. According to social media, it appears as though the Chi Omega sorority still thrives in Florida today. In January 2020, the Prime Video docuseries Ted Bundy Falling for a Killer was released, just after the 42nd anniversary of the killings at the Chi Omega house on January 15, 1978. The property is located at 661 West Jefferson Street, at Florida State University in Tallahassee. As the true crime documentary retells, Bundy escaped from prison and made his way to Florida in the 1970s. He broke into the sorority home, viciously murdering Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy, and attacking two other victims at the sorority house, Karen Chandler and Kathy Kleiner, who both survived. Bundy.
So he attacks 4 people, 2 survive, 2 were females that died.
Was not apprehended until a month later. The FSU sorority that
a
saw
month
the
later
horrors
too.
of that night still exists in several chapters across the country, and the Florida house that Bundy terrorized still stands at the same location. The renovated house looks a bit different decades after the tragic attacks occurred. It has been painted gray, but the Chi Omega Greek letters still hang above the house's red door. The building's dark past has not stopped future generations of young women from enjoying life in the space. Past recruitment videos showcase life at the sorority today. Narcity reached out to the Chi Omega house for comments, but has yet to hear back. This article has been updated since it was originally published on February 20, 2020. This article's cover image was used for illustrative purposes only.
So I think that was the end of the article pretty much. But yeah, he broke through an unlocked door, 5 female roommates. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's just very, I mean, is it just coincidence that he hit a sorority house too and went after 4 people? Again, we don't know if he intended to just kill 1 person there, if it was he walked in that house and thought, yeah, I'm going to be a quadruple murderer. I don't know. But thank you, Mike, for becoming a member. I appreciate it. And hold on, I'm scrolling up in chat. Thank you, Mike. Someone just posted that okay, so that Bryan is talking to law enforcement. That's what people that think they are smarter than everyone do. He just can't help himself. Narcissist. That's interesting. I cannot wait to see everything that we can see, especially in that affidavit. Okay, so now that I shared the Ted Bundy stuff and we talked about American Psycho and all that, so yeah, this is the book, one of the books that his professor wrote. And thank you for gifting memberships, Mike. You're so awesome. So my question is, which was sort of what I was getting into, is did Bryan know that Ethan was there? And Ethan didn't normally live there. It's a sorority house. So for him to be there, it just really makes me wonder if Bryan had an awareness that there would be a male who was, 6'3", there at the house. I know, his smiling in the mugshot, it's just too much. Okay, Shay Benet, drive safe. All right, so I'm curious what you guys think about if he knew Ethan would be there. And here's the other thing that is sad to think about. If he did know that Ethan was there, had he been watching them so closely that he was like, okay, he's wasted, I can take this on, not a big deal? or was it something that wasn't planned in his whole plan that night? And I just want to play a little bit from Ethan's coach as well while you guys ponder that and get back to me and chat about that. And thank you, Ella Anders, for the compliment on my Watts documentary. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad you liked it.
Basketball coach and mentor, not surprised that he had defensive wounds.
I've tried not to think too much about the particulars of that night, but certainly Ethan was a protector, and he had everybody, everyone that he cared about, he had their back.
All right, let me just top my coffee off real quick, and then we'll get into these traffic stops. Now, remember, guys, I enhance the volume quality and the audio volume itself. So this is your warning. If you're listening you might need to turn it down. It's been turned up all the way in my editing program so that we could really hear what they're saying. I tried my best to take the traffic sound out. But obviously I can't take the traffic sound out when they're talking. But I did think that this caption was hilarious, and it was in a Facebook group. What are you guys thinking first about, did he know Ethan was there or not? It looks like chat was saying he didn't know. Just very interesting. I think he was watching the house and therefore knew Ethan was there, Alicia said. Bryan didn't know he was there, in your opinion. Yeah, Liam's mom, I showed that in one of my other live streams. The side-by-side of Ted and Bryan mugshot is uncanny. John Wayne Gacy and Bundy never confessed. BTK did confess. I thought Bundy helped with FBI and told them stuff when they were doing the profiling information. I'm not saying that he confessed, but I did find it interesting that he did end up helping the FBI out before his execution. I don't think he knew but was prepared for anything. It seems so. He had to know he was watching, right? And I think even more that he was in the house before they even got home. I really do. So let me grab this coffee. And then, like I said, adjust your volume accordingly. And we'll start getting into the police body cam footage. And then we'll just go through some notes. Okay, guys? And thank you all for being here. Hit like if you haven't done so, and subscribe also if you feel the need. So this caption says, "The face you make when your dad is saying too much to the cops." And I just felt like as soon as Bryan's dad said WSU, Bryan was like, "Can you stop?" It was just like the look, the death stare that he gave his dad as soon as his dad mentioned WSU. What do you guys think? Okay, after Bundy was found guilty, he helped the FBI, but made them work for it. I believe Bryan will do the same. Yeah, I don't doubt that Ted would do that. That's how he is. Do you feel there is more? I don't know. I think Bryan is it, but I just don't know. His dad looks proud. Here's the thing too, and hello, Carolina and Heather. Thanks for being here. I want to know what you guys think, because I'm torn on this, but do you think that Bryan's father knew about it at this point, or do you think he had an inkling? Because the white Hyundai was announced on the 12th of December. This is after that. The Idaho killings, his father obviously knows his son goes to Washington. Was this stuff that he knew himself and he just couldn't say out loud to his son, or was it stuff that they had discussed together and he did know? I'm not saying that that's true, but okay, people are saying he had zero clue. Erica said he may have suspected, no clue at all. Not sure. I feel the same, Alicia. I'm just not sure. Inkling for sure, poor guy. And that's the thing, is like fathers and mothers, I just feel like they know some things even without you guys saying it. I don't think so. I don't think Dad would have mentioned WSU, right? That's a good point, Alex. That was something that was sort of like, oh, wait, maybe he didn't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Or maybe he was just nervous. Sometimes people just ramble when they're nervous and say something stupid. But I don't know. They did not know. Time will tell. I think parents saw signs probably growing up Time will tell. Absolutely not. Did you guys see how proud he was when he said my son's a P? Yes, that's true. He was like, well, he works at the, we'll watch it. We will watch it. But I did see a little, and here's the thing too, is when they realize that they're being pulled over for tailgating, I almost see them both kind of hold back a smirk. I don't know if that's because they thought that they were going to get something worse, like a speeding ticket, and so they were kind of happy that it was just like a follow type ticket or infraction. I don't know. But it's just very interesting. A lot of people want to know if he did know. 10% he might think something, 90% didn't know. Okay, Marco, that's fair. Yes, Amber, I felt he was nervous and spouted it out. Seems Bryan controlled his dad's narrative by his facial expressions. Seems the dad is clueless. Okay, let's watch this. I really appreciate your guys' comments, though. And now we know that these were pullovers instructed by FBI. So that makes this all even more interesting and almost puzzling because of the second body cam footage. He literally moves his camera down. Now, was that because he wanted them to think that they weren't being surveillanced, like obviously being stopped again? Or was that an accident or what? Because he literally moves the body cam so that it just hits the car in the second pullover. I slowed that footage down, so I'll do that. Now let's just get into this. Again, you've been warned about the volume, so I'm sorry if you're not near your volume settings because it's about to get loud.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. He was right up on that van, man. He was right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay. Cool. Where you headed?
Well, we're coming from WSU, and we're standing early.
What's WSU?
Yeah, I go to the university, basically. They're real estate. That is SWAT team area.
Now, I don't understand why they brought up the SWAT team. Here's my theory. They're nervous as heck because he mentioned WSU and his dad's like Bryan's trying to backpedal real quick and change the subject from his dad's mentioning WSU. Because remember, the be on the lookout alert has been issued across the country at this point, even into Canada. All right. So, you know, when these cops go into work that day or whenever there's a bolo out, you know, it's something that's communicated. And now that we know that the FBI told these state officers to pull this guy over, it makes it even more interesting.
So I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University, and you're going where?
We're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
We're slightly punchy because we're driving for hours.
Hours, days.
To drive. Well, almost a day.
Now, my question is when he says we're on our way to, and people are saying that he said Thai place, like to eat Thai food. I thought he said drive-through, but either way, he won't say they're on their way to Pennsylvania, which I don't understand. And then the father has to say, well, we're on our way to Pennsylvania. Good morning, Melissa Jade. Good to see you. Mass shooter, sniper, WSU PhD student. That's a lot of volunteered info. He said Thai food. How odd, right?
Okay. And what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or
yeah, there was a mass shooting here.
Where? Interesting.
Well, it's horrifying because he's told the universe, you know what I mean?
So y'all work at the university there?
I actually do work there.
Oh.
THC criminal.
Okay.
Now, there's a huge debate on if there's wounds on his hands. In the first traffic stop, in my opinion, I feel like he hides his hands as much as possible, or his arms. That's just my opinion. After this, I'll pull up the video I made yesterday where I think that he pulls down his sleeve in the first traffic stop to kind of hide that alleged wound. Now, I also have people sending and sharing screenshots of his arm that doesn't show the wound, and then I see screenshots of his arm that does show an alleged wound. Excuse me. The fact that, in my opinion, he's sort of hiding his hands here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking into it too much. But I would say that if he is really the suspect, then there would be, it would be normal to see a wound. And now there's people going round and round in the comment sections and all that. Would the wound be healed by then? If it's the blade and the knife used that they're saying was used, I don't think that a month and 3 days, a wound like that would be healed, in my opinion. And then there's people saying, well, I had wrist surgery, blah, blah, blah. Scalpels are much different than a K-bar.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that incident. Just yesterday, or?
It just happened yesterday. About an hour and a half ago, we're still wrapping it up for investigating. I'm not sure there's two shootings, but they did shoot somebody.
Yes, sir.
And then you don't know about that. Wait, they were there, they were shooting out of the window or something.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So do me a favor, don't follow too close, okay?
Oh,
all right. Thank you. Appreciate you.
So what I don't know if this is true, but what I had seen about this shooter was it wasn't a mass shooting. It was just a veteran who PTSD, I'm assuming, maybe shot. I don't know what the details were, but I don't think it was a mass shooting. I think it was sort of a smaller, not isolated, but it was something with a veteran. I don't know if that's true. You guys let me know. They never asked for registration either, right? And almost in a sense, like studying criminology, you would have thought that maybe Bryan knew, like, okay, they're following me. This is set up. They didn't ask for my registration. Apparently CDT allegedly, and again, I don't really take this into much weight because people can hide cuts all the time, but apparently his students or people who were in the class with him called in to another YouTube channel and said that they didn't notice any cuts on his hands or arms or whatever. In my opinion, those could easily be hidden. People hide cuts on their arms all the time. So even though apparently there are people coming out, and again, they're coming out on YouTube channels, not showing their face, not really proving much besides saying I was in class with him, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying they're lying, but I am saying that it's just hearsay going around that they're claiming they didn't see any wounds on his hands, which I find impossible. If he is a suspect, then there were probably means that he was using to hide them, but that's just my opinion. Bryan says going for Thai food. Dad says headed to Pennsylvania from WSU. Bryan's like, holy moly, right? I know they were like talking over each other. Just very strange. And of course, people get nervous, even if you've done almost absolutely nothing wrong and you get pulled over, you're always a bit nervous, I feel. So, all right. He definitely would hide his wounds on his hands. So, and that's the thing is people, yeah, I agree, Melissa. It's just, it is hearsay. Once they're up on the stand and they've, you know, if the judge or lawyers or whatever find them credible, then that's one thing. But I don't really pay much weight into that because no one knew to be looking out for Bryan's hands either. You know what I mean? Like right after the murders, like I'm sure not everyone was like, I know this guy in my class. It has to be him. Like, no, I just don't think so. And if Bryan was as weird as they say he was, then I highly doubt anyone was really paying much attention to him anyways, sadly. Thank you, Bradley. I really appreciate that. And thank you for being here. Okay, so yeah, exactly, Scott. I can call a YouTube channel and say me and the killer were bowling buddies and people would believe me. LOL. Can't believe most of this SHIT. I agree. I mean, it's nice to take in, but I'm not going to just change my theory that he didn't have any wounds on his hands because somebody calls a YouTube channel and says I didn't see any. Heather, thank you for becoming a member. So now let's go into the other body cam footage. Again, there's not much to it besides seeing the dirty car. I did slow it down here, so this is just their slowed down reaction. Try to take a peek at his, thank you, Detective Juan. I did the audio on that. Good, I'm glad you were able to hear more. I tried my best to take the sound out of the traffic and turn it up, so I'm glad that it actually was worth my time, because it does take a minute to edit, guys. But I really appreciate you guys being here. If you liked that little editing job, hit the like button. All right, so let's continue on. Again, there's no sound to this. Just their reaction as they're pulled over the second time. And then that's it. This is what I just don't understand. If FBI told the officers to get another look, I just have images of him walking into court and exiting court on the 3rd, so I'll play that for you as well. But I just don't understand. Hi, Craig G. If, thank you, Allison. If the cops told him to check out for wounds and stuff on the second pullover, which is what that article said that I read in the beginning of the stream by Fox, I'm just confused why that body cam was like adjusted so that we couldn't see it. Brian is nervous AF. Some say he is calm. Disagree. I think he's nervous. I don't know. I just can't imagine that he's calm, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people were saying he looked pissed in that second body cam. Okay, let's watch him go in and out of work. We'll watch his parents enter in and out of work, yeah. In and out of the courtroom. We'll watch his parents enter the courtroom, and this was on the 3rd in Pennsylvania before he got transferred to Idaho. And then we'll switch to, what did I want to play? Oh, yeah, the video that I did yesterday where I feel that it shows Brian pull his sleeve down in the first body cam traffic stop. Now, if state police had them pull them over twice, now, did the first cop say, I think I saw something on his sleeve, or I think he was hiding something on his sleeve, so they had the second cop do it? I don't know. You guys help me out. So I know you guys have probably already seen this, but I just want to take another look. I don't think he pulled the camera down. I think he bent down in the window. Gotcha. You think that he accidentally, didn't get a good view? They are coming out, Sarah, saying it was a scheduled pullover. So I read the article in the beginning of the stream.
Steps over the bar.
This is his family. All right. So what did I want to share? Oh, yeah. Give me a second, guys. And thank you for being here. I'm just going to play the video I posted yesterday. In my opinion, I think that it appears he pulls his sleeve down after he hands the cop his license. Now, a lot of people obviously disagree. A lot of people agree. So I just want to share this with you guys, leave this out there. Thank you, Sleuth Investigator. I appreciate that. And yes, hit the like button if you haven't done so. So, yeah, a lot of people are feeling bad for the dad. It's just sad. No one wants this to happen. Yeah, he is tall. Not as tall as Ethan, but... All right, hold on, guys. And I would like to know if Alex Erickson, CDT, allegedly with Brittany J. If you guys are going live, let me know so I can tell the chat, and then they can follow your guys' streams and what times they are today, because I am pretty much done after I go through this and share my notes. So I just want to, oh wait, let's pull up this News Nation thing I didn't watch yet. Idaho suspect's life's threatened, in jail, source says.
With him in the suicide smock, you can only see the top of it. Some people think it's like a Kevlar vest. It's not. It won't resist stabbing or shooting. Nothing like that of the sort. It's more of like a heavy quilted fabric that can't be rolled into a, kind of a sheet roll where you could hang yourself. It's called a suicide smock for a reason. That goes all the way down to just below sort of the pelvis, between the knees and the pelvis, almost like you're wearing a mini dress. And that's all you get. If you're on suicide watch, as he was for the 5 days, you get to wear that. And you don't get a t-shirt, you don't get underwear, you don't get anything else that can be fashioned into any kind of device where you can hang yourself. And that's how he spent his 5 days. But he did get a shower every day, I'm told, by a source. And the shower is about 20 yards down a hallway. So he would be marched in his leg shackles. He was not allowed to take the leg shackles off while he was marched down that hallway to the showers every day. They did release the handcuffs so that he could wash himself, but that's about the only time they allowed him that, that latitude. And then he'd be marched back into his cell, and he was able to get a fresh set of the suicide smock if he wanted one. Now, here's what's super fascinating. In the intake part of that jail, there are 5 cells. 3 of them have doors and 2 of them have bars. He was in one of the ones with the doors, and the doors, the one he was in, is all glass. It's got a middle portion that's all frosted, and that's the only privacy you get, because when you sit on the stainless steel toilet, that is the only bathroom you're going to use while you're in there, it has a faucet above it. That's the only privacy, is that little bit of frosted glass across the middle of the glass door that was the front of his cell. But basically, there's a lieutenant or guards who can watch him at all times, and do watch him at all times. He gets a 15-minute checkup just to make sure everything's going on okay. But if he's lying down on the floor, they can see him below the frosted glass. And if he was standing up, they could see him above the frosted glass. He did request the vegan meals. So he was given meals that would satisfy that kind of diet. And I'm told it's peanut butter and jelly, applesauce, vegetables, beans, rice, cereal, maybe some potatoes. That's about it. I am also told that the impression from some of the folks in the jail was that he looked, and I'll use the word creepy. Right from the start, they said he looked extremely creepy. Here is something that is fascinating. He did talk. He actually said a couple of things that are pretty astounding, and I'm assuming that his defense attorneys will probably want to know this, as well as the prosecutors. When he was asked, why did you do it? His answer was, I didn't do anything. When the follow-up question was, why did you go to Idaho? His answer was, the shopping is better in Idaho. Let me repeat that. When Bryan Kohberger was asked, why did you go to Idaho?
Wow.
He answered, the shopping is better in Idaho. I'm assuming that's a joke, but we are dealing with a quadruple murder here and 4 first-degree murder charges that he's facing. I don't find that very funny. Let me tell you a couple of other things about the way he spent his time there. He was not allowed. He's an alleged murderer at this point. Let's be very clear about this. He's going to face his process in Idaho, but he was not allowed any reading materials. He was allowed no pens, no paper. At no point was my source aware of any crying or any praying or any sadness, which is odd. He seemed as though he slept most of the time. He wasn't loud, and he was not mean. That is also in direct, opposition to a report that came out in a newspaper saying that he was screaming profanity and rap lyrics and exposing himself. That was another inmate, actually, in the same intake area. That happened with someone completely different. It was not this inmate. This inmate was a model inmate who caused no problems. And even though he was cold, because he was only wearing that suicide smock you're seeing, and had no sheets, no blankets, only the mattress, and that's a cold area. That intake area is quite cold. There's a lot of electronics equipment in there, so they have to keep it fairly cool. He didn't have a blanket, a suicide blanket, the first night or two, but he did have one later on. Here's one other thing that happened. Another inmate came through that inmate intake area and yelled at him, gave him the finger and yelled at him, F you, I'm going to kill you. That's what another inmate yelled at him. F you, I'm going to kill you. And of course, Bryan Kohberger was behind a locked glass cell door and didn't have any response that we know of at that point. There's some of the reporting I can give you from the jail cell where he spent 4 or 5 days up until 6 o'clock this morning. Thank you for watching. Go to.
All right. Well, that was interesting to hear. So he's denying that he did anything and just making snarky comments, it seems. Thank you so much for being a member. It doesn't come up. Hold on. Sorry. I'm just checking the chat out of StreamYard because some things don't show. Thank you for being a member, Sassy Sleuthing Patriot, for a month. I appreciate your support. And thank you so much for the super chat as well. So Alex Erickson is going live at 10:30. So if you want to check out her stream, definitely hop over there after this one. And then CDT, will you be live at all today as well? Because I'd like to send the chat to your area as well so that we can continue discussing over there. I moderate for both those channels, so we definitely always have good discussions together over there. I'm sorry, StreamYard is like so annoying that I can't find the super chat. There we go. Was his sister in a movie called 2 Days Back? I'm just now seeing this on Twitter per the New York Post. Has anyone ever seen it by chance? I have not seen that. Maybe chat has. That's interesting. So she's an actress? That's weird. Good morning, Phantom. Thanks for being here. And thank you, Melissa Jade, for the compliment on the Chris Watts documentary. I'm glad you liked it. If you guys haven't seen the documentary, check it out. I have just created a new playlist that has all my documentaries on it. So I've got Gabby Petito documentary, Chris Watts documentary, a few of them actually, because that's the case that I built my channel on, was the Chris Watts theory. That's how I met all of you guys. So I appreciate you guys being here since 2019, I think I started that. So I've also got the death investigation of Kurt Cobain documentary, a Summer Wells documentary. There's just a bunch in my documentary playlist. So check it out. And I'm glad you guys like the Watts one. Good morning, Kay Danielle. Wonder what he was thinking when the inmate said that to him. Right. All righty, guys. I think I've shared everything that I wanted to share with you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on the team here with us. So subscribe if you have not done so. Just looking to see before I leave who else is going live today so that we can just send everyone over there. I appreciate your guys' kind words. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kent Valley, for listening as always. Oh, wow. You found me through Kurt Cobain. Awesome. Yeah, that's a death investigation that definitely needs another look by the FBI. Yep, Joe, until next time, I'll see you guys soon. And yes, everyone have a blessed day. And I'll see you in Alex's chat at 10:30 and CDT's chat. If she's going live today, I'll definitely be there. Be on the lookout. Both of the links are in the chat, and CDT's is in the description box. Hopefully we get the arrest affidavit very soon. I really want to see that. I feel like that's going to be... Hopefully it's not overly redacted, but I'm just reading chat while we finish up. Thank you so much, Jessie Lynn. Until next time. All right, guys. Okay. Brittany J says she will be live when mine ends. Okay. Then we will all see each other again later if you guys want to hop over to those streams, okay? So again, we'll be discussing updates on this case as soon as they come out. I might be live tomorrow morning if something breaks, but I don't know if something will. Keep checking back. I'll share stuff to my community page. Thank you, Crypticon. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you, Delaney. Thank you to all my members and subscribers and everyone who hit the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, either way, we'll be talking very soon. So bye, everybody.